All right, guys, we have reached the end game. We are at Ant-Man and the Wasp. This has been a long-ass journey of 20 films in a very short amount of time. It has taken a lot of my time to get all this done, and I practically did it for myself and a few of you, because these videos aren't getting many views. But for the few of you who have been very excited and commented on all of these and are, telling me that you're enjoying this, this is for you guys. So thank you to all, the few of you that have actually joined me. I know this is a horror channel, and I know that a lot of people who subscribe to my channel really don't give a shit what I think unless it's in the horror genre, which is kind of a shame because I love all films equally. I mean, I'm such a fan of the entire spectrum of film that but I get it. I presented myself as a horror channel, and horror fans follow me, and I don't give a fuck about a lot of this stuff. But for those of you who have followed me through this journey, thank you, and this was for you. So, Ant-Man and the Wasp. This was a much needed film after the extremely down ending of Infinity War. God, I wish I could get to Captain Marvel. I don't see that happening, so I won't be able to cover that. I will at some point. Anyway, but yeah, this movie is it's just fun. Like the first Ant-Man, it's just a fun little adventure movie, and it's a nice break from the gut punch that Avengers Infinity War was. Now, when it comes to sequels and whatnot, we don't really know what's going to happen in Endgame. We can guess that obviously Spider-Man lives. Black Panther, probably. More than 100%. Black Panther's coming back. Now, Ant-Man. Will there be an Ant-Man 3? Does Ant-Man survive Endgame? I don't know. I mean, I could see him being an expendable character that they kill off. I mean, his movies don't make a ton of money. They make good money, don't get me wrong, but it's not like a franchise that they're like rushing to get back to. So will we ever see a part 3? Will there be a character to make a part 3 for? That's, still so up in the air. All right, so let's talk about the movie itself. All right, so the de-aging here on Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, incredible. The de-aging stuff blows my mind every time I see it. And it never has been better than it was in Captain Marvel on Samuel L. Jackson. That is just seamless. It is, I've noticed, and I don't know if this is like a texture thing or a color thing or whatnot, but I've noticed that on the couple characters I've seen de-aged that are black, African American, whatever, they look better than the white people that I've seen. So I don't know if it's harder to do that and you can hide better in the darker tones, but the Samuel Jackson stuff in Captain Marvel, he's in like the entire film and it's incredible. And then there's other ones where you can just see stuff here and there, little bits. So I don't know if it's just easier to hide or not, but yeah, because I don't get to talk about Captain Marvel for a little while now, I thought I'd have to bring that up. But the de-aging here on Michelle Pfeiffer, and this is the second time we've gotten Michael Douglas de-aged again, and both times I just thought were absolutely amazing. So the whole premise of this movie is the first movie, Scott goes into the quantum realm where you're not supposed to be able to come out of it, and Scott does it in like a minute. And that proves to Hank that it can be done, and that somehow their mom is still down there. Comic book logic. That's what I'm pretty much going to say for lots and lots and lots of things. Because if you try to think of this movie logically, you're gonna get really lost in nitpicks all damn day. There's so many things. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I don't even know if my certain nitpicks would even be correct, but just the way I see them logically in my head, I'm like, there's no way that's possible. Like, wouldn't wouldn't like oxygen be too big to actually breathe when you were in the quantum zone, realm? Would your body be able to actually absorb that at that level? But it's, I guess, because she's out there when he comes, because it's not like Scott's in the suit, but Michelle Pfeiffer's character here, she does take off her mask when she's down there. So could she breathe out there? I wouldn't think so. But anyway, and what'd she eat? And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You cannot overthink this shit. You just can't. Because there's so many things. Like when they're mini cars and they go small and then they go big, they still continue to move at the same speed, even though their tire diameter has been shrunk to this from this. So the amount of rotation that it would take to be able to continue to keep moving at that speed, the things would be smoking on fire to be going that fast. So, as I said, leave all that kind of shit at the door. That's all comic book logic. That's not... See, I'm willing to look past that stuff. What I'm never willing to look past is people are people. People always react a certain way. There's character decisions and stuff that I will not forgive because that makes no sense. Or a blatant disregard for logic. Like when it comes to this kind of stuff, like pseudoscience kind of stuff, you just got to go with it. You just got to be like, okay, that works. It doesn't matter. That, they can shrink down this big and they can get this big and whatever. You just can't think about that kind of stuff. So I try not to with this movie. And so if I'm not doing that here, that's why. Because I know I nitpick shit like crazy. Fun nitpicks. I'm not an asshole. But, well, I can be, but I'm not typically. All right, so Scott is on house arrest, and he has built this awesome playground in his house with his kid because we don't know what lengths he's went to. He's learned close-up magic. And love the relationship that Paxton and Maggie have with Scott now. I just think it's freaking great. And it's kind of something that I want in my life. Like, I want the mother of my children to meet a guy like that, and I want him and I to be able to be that close. I love it. It just, I don't know. I know that's movie shit, and it'll probably never be that awesome, but I love it. They're so fucking cute together, like all three of them. Paxton has definitely become a character I really like, and I hope that we at least get to see Luis in Endgame. Just for a minute. Just for like 5 seconds. He's such a great character of this double feature Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's part of the MCU that I feel like he should get some screen time in Endgame. I feel like it's a crime if he doesn't at least have a sentence to speak to Scott. Like, it would, I don't know, it'd feel wrong to me that Luis didn't get to make it in there. Because for me, he's a very important MCU character. He's one of my favorite comedic relief characters outside of maybe Rocket or something. So, and of course, oh my God, I'd love to see Maggie and Paxton and did they survive? I mean, what are the odds? Did Luis survive? Did frickin' Maggie and Paxton and Cassie, like, did his daughter survive? Is Ant-Man's daughter dead? That right there would be huge. If we found out Cassie dies, that's going to be huge motivation for him. I mean, that's another thing we haven't really touched upon is like all the secondary characters. Like, would Natalie Portman make a return as Jane to come back just to die? Like, would we see more people? Will the beginning of Endgame start with a ton of other deaths that were not superheroes, but other characters that we've gotten to know throughout the franchise? Will they be brought up? I have no doubt there will be some that we find out, like Cassie or Maggie, from Ant-Man's movies or other Captain America movies or Iron Man movies. Like, is Happy dead? That kind of stuff. I don't think Pepper? That might be a big one too. Pepper died and we find out she's pregnant because Tony has that dream that she was pregnant. But I don't know, like, there's so much to play around with on the death side of things that we haven't even touched on yet. So Oh man, I'm just so excited about Endgame. That's like all I want to talk about. But how can I when I haven't even seen the movie? I haven't even seen a fucking trailer yet. That's how hardcore I've been. I don't want to go into this thing with any less. All right. So Scott has a dream of freaking. What is her damn name in this? Oh, I know it, but Michelle Pfeiffer's character. What the fuck is it? It doesn't matter. So he has a dream of her, and he's seeing through her eyes, and he sees hope in the armoire or whatnot, and comes out of it, calls him, and then they, of course, come to him because they think that this is somehow connected. Now, how this all works, and this is another one of those throw the logic away kind of things, because somehow Scott shrank down into the quantum realm, which we don't really know how space and time works. They said it's completely altered. So you would think, because it's small, like just like on your fingertip, like let's just say the nail bed of your finger here, that would be like the size of, our galaxy. Like that's how big that area would be if you went down that small. So Scott shrinking down in that moment to, the quantum realm, which would be a trillion miles away from where she is, no matter pretty much where she was. Somehow in that minute, there's an anomaly there, so she's able to sense that, go in there, plant an antenna on him without his knowledge, and then him to come back, to normal size, have that antenna somewhere planted on him or in him, or I don't know. I don't know if they think she could have shrunk down even smaller and went into his ear canal. I don't know, but she's also able to control his dreams, and she's also able to essentially possess his body at one point, take over his body to the point where she can control his actions, speak through him, like freaking Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost or whatnot. I don't know. For me, that's a big leap. That's a big leap from being able to shrink really small and grow really big. Like those are the two things. And then we add Ghost in here, and she has this ability to phase, but she's constantly in a state of phase. So that's an added power. But I don't know, just the Michelle Pfeiffer mom stuff in the quantum realm and how she connects to Scott. I feel like they just wrote themselves into a corner. They wanted to make this movie, and they were like, she planted an antenna, and now she's sending him dreams, and now, she's altering his dreams, and now she controls his body. Like, it seems a little much. Does it hurt the film? Not really. I mean, it's one of those things you kind of just got to go, okay, sure, I guess, why not? Because really what we're here for is we're here for the jokes, we're here for the action, we're here for the visuals, we're here for the camaraderie, we're here for the, the connections of the characters and the way they play off of each other and all that stuff, the chemistry. So as long as that's all working and the story is at least interesting, like, oh, they're trying to get the mom back, and, Scott's got on house arrest, and if he gets caught, he only has fucking 3 days left, and if he gets caught, he's going to go away for 20 years, and he's been away from his daughter for 2 years living in this damn house. Now, I would obviously prefer house arrest over prison, so throw me in the house, I could just watch movies all damn day, I'd be good. I'd be fine on house arrest. It would suck to never have to leave the house, but I'd be alright. Much, much better than prison anyways, because, you're just stuck in anyway. So yeah, I'd be fine. Especially since he can have people over. He can just have his daughter over and you have just like fucking order in hookers and no, just get a girlfriend. All right. And then so we know that they need a part for this machine that will get them to drop down into the quantum realm. Walter Goggins, pretty big fan of him. I've never really watched Justified. I watched like maybe 1 or 2 episodes, so I know that's kind of where a lot of his fans reside. Well, a lot of people who like him are big fans of that show. I never watched it. I really liked him in Tomb Raider. I was a big fan of that movie, and I was very excited to see that they actually announced a sequel. We didn't think we were going to get one. I dug it. As a big fan of the current new video game series that they released, that's very similar to my favorite video game series of all time, Uncharted. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought that it felt very Tomb Raider to me. I don't know why it was so hated from people. So, but I thought he was good in it. I really like him. He's underused here. I mean, of all of the MCU movies, I think this one probably has the least focus on a villain. Like, there's really not a villain in this movie all that much. Ghost and Lawrence Fishburne's character here, Dr. fucking Shivago. What the hell's his name? Oh man, I'm terrible with names. But anyway, those two characters, they're not really villains. And then Walter Goggins' character is like a side mob boss type character that he's not really the villain. He's definitely not something like a Thanos or a Killmonger or a fucking Vulture or anything. Like, this movie does not have one of those at all. Ghost is that villain, but she's not really a villain. And that's what I really like about it. It's not just a one-dimensional villain. Like, she's not doing this because she's evil. She's doing this because she's in constant agony, misery. She can't live her life because she feels awful all the time. Her cells are being like ripped apart and then like re-put back together and back and forth all day, every day. She's in absolute agony, and she blames Hank Pym for this. And she thinks that he's responsible for not only doing it, but for fixing it as well, that he needs to do this, and she will go to any lengths to stop the agony. And that's something we can relate to. If you've ever been someone who lives with constant agony, you know that you would do almost anything to get that done. And I like Lawrence Fishburne's character here and how he is very committed to her, that he feels like she's his responsibility in a way, and he isn't ever willing to do anything too terrible, because when she says she's going to go after Scott's kid, he's like, you touch that kid, I'm never fucking speaking to you again. Like, he has morality to him. He's a moral man. He just knows that something needs to be done for this Ghost character, because she is a victim here. So she is a true victim, and she doesn't have any ill intent. She's not trying to get this thing for power or anything. She's getting this just to feel better, period. She just wants to be fixed. And I mean, we don't really touch upon the fact that her parents were killed too much, but in reality, that is kind of their fault. Well, the dad's fault, not the mom's fault. This kind of reminds me of Iron Man 2 with Vanko's dad, who was cast aside by Howard Stark. Kind of reminds me of that, where Hank Pym pushed him out and whatnot, and he just pushed through with his efforts there, and he pushed too hard, and he ended up killing his wife and himself and hurting his daughter so bad. So is it really Hank's fault? To an extent, but really the blame is on the father, and I'm sure she doesn't want to deal with that. But I like her character. It's compelling. It's not just a generic stock villain. It's a little deeper than that. And at the end, she really does become a better person because she got what she wanted. Michelle Pfeiffer's character was able to suppress it for the moment. I mean, at the end of the movie, they're still going in there to grab these healing particles from the quantum realm to further help her. So I guess it's not a instant fix. It's something she's gonna have to maybe like take a fucking little shot of quantum healing particles every month or whatever to be able to stay stable. But they did fix her ultimately. Will we see her in Endgame? Did she die? I don't know if we'll see her again, but if they make an Ant-Man 3, I could see her showing up for sure. All the fight sequences in this movie are really fun. They really play around a lot more with the idea of being able to shrink and also to get really, really big. And there's a lot of funny comedic moments. Of course, the one with the malfunctioning suit where Scott's running around and he's like becomes like a little pint-sized kid, and he throws on the clothes of the kid and is like running around the halls. That's really funny. He's trying to jump up in the van. That's all pretty funny stuff. Fight sequences, as I said, taking the salt shaker, throwing it, making it big, the Pez dispenser stuff, the car being able to shrink down, I don't know. I don't even know what to call that. Like, you shrink down and then you you don't big up. I don't know. You go back to normal size. I don't know. But yeah, when they go under the car and then they hit it and it flips the car, and then the other one, like that, all that stuff is so cool. They really play around with size in this movie, and I just dug the hell out of it. And we find out that Ghost is going to die in a couple weeks, of course. I mean, she's lived like this for what, 20, 30 fucking years, and now, she was a kid, so she's been dealing with this for at least a decade, but of course it's just in the week because they damaged her machine. It's always, they always got to put the thing on it. And even Michelle Pfeiffer here is like, oh well, this alignment will be here for 2 hours and then it won't ever line up again like this for a century or something. It's all so convenient. It's all like, really, 2 hours on the dot to the second, and then it's going to shift for a century? How the hell do you know this? Like, and what is shifting? And we don't really know, but the 2 hour mark and the century and all, it's very convenient writing. I don't want to say lazy writing, but it's not great writing. It's just kind of like, okay, I mean, if we got you on board for everything else, we'll get you on board for this, you know? And I mean, we get more of Luis's storytelling in this, so you just had to have it, and it's just as funny here as it is in the first one. I loved seeing it. I loved the little, whatever the fuck that noise is, like little bongos or something that leads into it. It's probably not bongos. I don't know what the fuck it is, but that little music that they play leading into it gets you all excited. You're like, oh, here comes one of his stories. The truth serum stuff is all really funny. There's no such thing as truth serum, and then at the end, you know, it is truth serum. I thought that was a really fun joke there throughout. Ghost going through the car, you know, right through the van as she comes through and phases right through. Obviously, this is going to take you right back to Matrix Reloaded, which I'm a huge Matrix fan. The first, second, and third. Okay, I don't know why everyone hates the fucking second and third one so much. It makes no sense to me. I'm going to review those one day. I'm going to defend the shit out of them, because I think they're fan-fucking-tastic. And I think I've talked about pretty much everything. Having the mobile house to be able to take out and just throw up on the beach, and the drive-in theater up on the laptop, and all. I like, as I said, it's just cute. And then, man, we get this real downer ending of like, I remember being in the theater and having the, you know, the snap take place, and Hope and Hank and Michelle Pfeiffer. Fuck is her name? I can't believe I didn't write it down. And I can't believe I forgot it already. I'm so bad with names. This is one thing I will say I suck at. But yeah, they just all just vanish. And that, of course, like, how the hell does Scott get out of the quantum realm? That's a huge question that I hope that they don't completely ignore in Endgame. I would be very surprised if they ignore it. Maybe Luis comes and hits a button and brings him back. I don't know. But how he would know how to do that, I don't know. But something. There's got to be some explanation. But he does have a vial of, you know, this healing energy. Is that going to play into the story somehow? Or is that just, you know, nothing? I don't know. And then the ant scene at the very, very, very end, the after credit sequence, is the only footage that we've seen post-snap. It's weird when I think about that. Like, that's the only footage we've seen as an ant playing drums. That actually takes place after everyone has died. Everyone's faded away, turned to dust. Like, after all the dust has settled, this is the only footage that we currently have seen. But yeah, that's it, guys. So I kind of went over my notes a little quick here, but I've already went way too long. But yeah, so thanks for that journey. I will be seeing Endgame tomorrow at 6 p.m. I bought my tickets the day of course. I got center row. That's the cool thing about going to a movie by yourself, is there's always one random seat sprinkled throughout the theater when you have assigned seating to pick from. So I get to go see this by myself, sit in between two people I don't know. Don't give a shit. I'm going to be staring this way, not this way. I couldn't give a fuck. And everyone in that theater isn't even take a breath because they're going to be so damn hyped for this movie, just like me. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, it's already here. Holy shit. I will see you tomorrow with my full thoughts, spoiler-free review of Endgame. Adios.